So I know my previous video was me detailing my top 5 legendary weapons that I'd found in Borderlands 3 up until that point, but since that video I've probably soaked up another 30, maybe 40 hours of in-game play time, and I'd even found some legendaries while making that video that had such a positive effect on my class at the time and were just so good that I'd kind of already made up my mind that I was going to make another video like that. So today I'm bringing you guys 5 more legendary items, not weapons this time, items that you can find and you should definitely get hold of in Borderlands 3. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you subscribe and turn your post notifications on so that you never miss a video on the channel, and make sure if you did enjoy the video that you hit like, and if you found a legendary weapon like this, or you're using one of these legendary weapons, or even if you found a better legendary weapon that I should cover or that I should definitely get my hands on, then let me know in the comment section down below. But without further ado, let's get on to today's list. So the first item on today's list that we're talking about is quite easily my favourite submachine gun in the entire game now, and it's the Nighthawk In. And if you haven't heard of this weapon or you haven't got hold of one yet, then you definitely should be trying to. So what makes the Nighthawk In so unique as a weapon is its flavor text, which reads Stranger Than Things. And the Stranger Than Things, which is also a cool little Easter egg to Stranger Things, the TV show itself, allows the Nighthawk In to change its elemental arc dependent on the time of day in game. So if it's daytime in Borderlands 3, your Nighthawk In will be doing cryo damage and elemental effect, and if it's nighttime in Borderlands 3, the Nighthawk In will switch over to incendiary damage, which is sick, and there's not another gun that I found, at least currently in the game, that actually does this. The other really cool thing that the Nighthawk In also does, dependent on the time of day in game in Borderlands 3 itself, is that if it's daytime, as per usual, the Nighthawk In will only shoot a single bullet for shot taken out of magazine, but if it's nighttime, the Nighthawk In will actually shoot 3 bullets per shot that you take out of the magazine, which is just incredible. It triples the damage output that this thing has, which is ridiculously good already. It also gets extra elemental chance if you keep consistently hitting your enemy, and the thing is just so powerful and buff. I don't know why I wouldn't have it on my class and why I didn't in the first place. I've got some gameplay up on the screen now for you guys to watch using the Nighthawk In against some enemies, and this is on True Vault Hunter Mayhem 3, so you know that the enemies are usually very difficult to kill no matter what weapons or items you're using. The Nighthawk In just shreds through them. It freezes the majority of enemies because, as said, as it hits and hits and hits, the elemental chance goes up and up and up, and that just makes it even more overpowered. The Nighthawk In is definitely a weapon that you want to be on the lookout for while you're farming bosses or just dropping world legendaries as you go, and it's fantastic. It never leaves my class now. It's my favourite sub in game, and I really recommend that you guys get hold of one as soon as you can. Okay, so the next item I have for you guys on today's list in game is the Lyuda sniper / Gatling gun rifle. It's kind of a mixed hybrid weapon, and it's also a returning weapon from Borderlands 2, so I'm very happy that Gearbox brought this back, because it was one of my favourite guns back then, and it still holds up as one of my favourite guns now. But back to the point. So you can get this gun for guaranteed from doing Zero's Targets of Opportunity mission in-game itself. That so happens to be where I got my first Lyuda in-game, and I didn't even know you could get it that way. I was just going about doing the trophy for Zero's Targets as I'm going for the Platinum in Borderlands 3, and then it just so happened that I managed to get this and found out that it's a guaranteed drop. So if you haven't done this in-game yet, then I definitely recommend that you get it, because so far this is the best Lyuda that I've actually managed to get hold of, despite the magazine size being lower and such. It's just ridiculous. I've managed to get hold of 4 Lyudas now, as said, 1 from Zero, 2 from farming bosses in-game, and 1 from the cube on Necrophato. So it is a random world drop as well, so you can get hold of it just farming bosses and such if you don't want to go do the Zero's quest. But let's get back onto the gun. It shreds. I mean, the critical damage that this thing is capable of outputting is ridiculous. A lot of people have been using this on flak builds recently and just showing truly how powerful this is. I've been using it on my Moze, as I still haven't fully completed the game as flak currently, even though he is at max level now, and I will get round to doing that so I can test out different builds with different characters and such as soon as possible. But even using it on my Moze just absolutely destroys everything. I've pulled some gameplay up on screen for you guys of me just farming Grave Ward using the Lyuda quickly on my Moze, and you can just see how truly powerful this weapon is. And what makes this weapon even more powerful is its flavor text, which actually allows the Lyuda from a distance, if shot, to split off with 2 more projectiles on either side. So instead of it shooting 3 bullets like mine does anyway, yours might have rolled differently, but instead of it shooting 3 bullets, it shoots 5 bullets, which just increases the critical damage this thing is capable of anyway. It's a fully automatic sniper rifle with the damage of a sniper rifle, with the rate of fire of an assault rifle. Doesn't have many bullets in the mag, but with a build that generates regenerates bullets, or as said, a flak build that deals stupid amounts of critical damage very, very quickly, this weapon is probably one of the best in game for instantly farming bosses like Grave, or other things like when you're stuck on a part, or you're doing something like Slaughter Star, or just stuff like that, you know, stuff that you need to be killing stuff very, very quickly. The Lyuda is very, very good at that. So the third item that I have for you guys on today's list is what is now my favourite assault rifle in Borderlands 3 altogether. I know last video I was talking about the Engulfing Ogre, and it still is a very, very good and fun weapon to use, but I picked up the Shredder Fire, and by god did I just fall in love with it on the spot, especially with an elemental effect on it, because, you know, they come as just normal weapons, or you can get elemental effects on them, and I got nuclear on mine, and it just makes it 10 times better. So the Shredder Fire comes with the Flavor Text Speed Kills, and what Speed Kills does for the weapon is that it greatly decreases the spool time that it takes for it to charge up and start firing. It has an extremely high fire rate, which is actually ridiculous, and is probably my favourite thing about the gun itself, as it can pump out a ridiculous amount of damage in such a small amount of time, and it's just so fun and accurate and everything. And the only thing that this actually draws back for the Shredder Fire is that it reduces the damage slightly, but when you're putting out like 100 to 200 bullets dependent on your class itself in about 5 to 10 seconds, and you even have an elemental effect like I do, nuclear, on the gun, which increases the damage even more and just causes enemies to explode and just makes the weapon 10 times cooler, then the damage drop off from the effect actually doesn't even matter, and you don't even see it because the weapon is already doing so much damage that you don't even have to care about that damage drop off. I've got a relic on my Mows that also increases magazine size by 40%, so my Shredder Fire has 184 bullets in it per magazine, and it just decimates everything that gets in its way. The Shredder Fire is fun, it's wacky, it's accurate, it pumps lead into everything in its way, as I've already said, and it's just really everything that Borderlands 3 is about packed into an assault rifle, and for that reason I really love it. It never leaves my class, and I definitely recommend that you guys get hold of one as soon as you can. Farm it from a legendary boss, or get it in the world just by playing, whatever, just get hold of one. Okay, so the fourth item on today's list is the reason that this is an items list rather than a weapons list, and this is the Transformer Shield, and I really wanted to point this out to you guys because I wasn't using this. I dropped it a couple times by farming and such and just kind of tossed it away, but then when I started looking up builds for Mows and Flak and all the other characters, and I realised how many people were using this and fitting it into their builds because of its power, then I had to get hold of one and I had to use it, and I gotta say, to me personally, it is my favourite shield in the game now, but that all depends on how your class is set up and such, guys, so this might not fit into your class, but it definitely fits into mine. So what makes the Transformer Shield so special and fit into my class so well is that when you're using it, it stops you from taking any shock damage whatsoever, meaning that any enemy using shock like Kilovolt for instance, or anything else in the game that hits you with shock like barrels and such, just can't hurt you anymore, so you're essentially invincible to any shock damage as long as the Transformer is on your class. As you can see, it has 100% resistance, and it absorbs this power and it turns it into shields for you, which is just ridiculous. Put this ability together with the other ability that the Transformer has that has a 40% chance to absorb any incoming bullets and actually put them in your reserve ammo, and you have a shield that practically turns you into a god dependent on your setup. And by god, my favourite thing out of the Transformers effects altogether is that if you're playing on Mayhem 3, sometimes you actually get the problem that your damage is reflected at you by enemies, and obviously that is a lot of damage, and most of the time I go down a lot because of this effect, and I'll end up closing my app just to get rid of it as it's so annoying. But if you're running around with a shock weapon like my Butcher that I use my Butcher all the time, and you actually trigger that effect, that 30% rebound damage, and you're using the Transformer and my Butcher's shock, then you don't take any damage. It actually just replenishes your shields, making you even more godlike, and my Butcher regenerates ammo and shoots fast, and my Mows build is fitted around actually regenerating ammo almost infinitely. So you are basically walking around with infinite ammo like a god, taking no damage, able to kill anything like raid bosses and such in literal seconds and just stand there. You don't even have to do anything, and it just makes the Transformer a god tier shield, probably one of the best in the game, dependent, as said many times already, on your class setup, and for me it's definitely something that I'm going to be rocking for a long time, if not forever. So the final actual weapon that we have on today's list for you guys is a weapon that a lot of people probably don't actually know about, that's obtainable through a side quest in-game. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this weapon yet, but it's actually the Amazing Grace Jacob's hand cannon, and it's relatively good. It's probably not going to be your choice of gun in most situations, it's probably more for the collectors in Borderlands 3, but it is a good gun nonetheless. So I think the best way to describe the Amazing Grace is that it's a lower tier Queen's Call or King's Call that's obtainable through a side quest in-game before you actually get to the end and you get the ability to farm for the Queen's or King's Call. And even though it's very slow fire rate, it does have a high amount of damage, so it is a good gun nonetheless, but it still is probably the slowest firing Jacob's pistol I've used in-game. The quest that you have to complete to get this weapon is called the Life of the Party, and you can find this quest in the Devil's Razor area on Pandora itself. And as I've said, if you've got the Queen's Call or the King's Call, it's definitely going to really outshine the Amazing Grace, but for the collectors and the people that can actually utilize this weapon in a very good way, like the Flax with critical builds once again, then the Amazing Grace is a good weapon. I just think it's outshone by other Jacob's pistols. Like for me, I still love the Maggie, I really like the Queen's Call now, and even though I said it wasn't going to be on my class all the time in the last video, it is now because the outstanding damage the thing can produce. And overall, I just think that the Grace deserves some spotlight, even if it isn't the best Jacob's pistol that we have in Borderlands 3. And there you have it guys, 5 more items in Borderlands 3 that you should definitely be trying to get your hands on. If you guys have enjoyed today's video, then make sure you hit the subscription button down below and turn your post notifications on so that you never ever miss a video from me. And if you guys have enjoyed the video that much, then make sure you hit the like button so that you can let me know that you've enjoyed it. And if you guys are using any of these legendaries or have any legendaries that I should be bringing up in a video in the future like this, then let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys want to follow me on my other socials like Instagram and Twitter, then go over there and you'll find me at Zephr playing on both of those. And if you guys want to follow me on Twitch for as and when I do stream games over there, then you can find me on Twitch at Zephr playing also. And finally guys, if you fancy a new controller skin just to make your controller look nice, whether it's a PlayStation or an Xbox One, or you need some new thumbstick grips as your thumbsticks have weared down, or even if you fancy adding a new jumper or a t-shirt to your collection, head over to fadegrips.store, use my code Zephr20 while you're checking out, and you'll get 20% off your order over there. So for now guys, I've been Scott or Zephr, thank you so much for watching today's video, I hope you've had a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.